Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about VS Code extension. So this video will help you in creating your own extension. So for your extension, whatever you need it, you should find in this video. Though they have already provided, means VS Code have already provided a lot of examples, but there are many. You have to go each and everywhere. That is like a time consuming process. So in this video, I'm covering everything, pretty much not like whatever you will need on a daily basis that I'm covering in this video so that you will be able to, create your extension. All right, so this is the page. I have already uploaded the code, which I'll share the link in the description by the way. And these are the topics which I will be covering in this one. Close to 15-20 topics are there which you need it to create your own extension. All right, so let's see the first one, how you will create your extension. So what you need to do, you need to go to this website and then you need to install this code generator command so that the yo command starts working in your machine, and that will help you in creating the basic template. So what will happen once you execute this one, your yo command starts working in your machine. When you hit yo space command, these are the possible questions it will ask, like what kind of extension you want, I mean which language, TypeScript or JavaScript, whatever you want to select, you can select that, and then give a name of your extension, give the description and all that stuff. In the end, it will ask you want to open the VS Code like this, and then it will open. And once that is open, you will see a code like that. It will be a blank template with a hello world kind of thing. All right, so that you can, on top of that, you mean you can write your own code to create your own extension. All right, so let me cover these topics one by one. Let me show you first how you will create your own basic messages. So since like first topic is to create a command. Command is means so that you can run this panel is there, you see here, right? F, that is where all the command, this is called command palette, and you can execute your own commands. So when you will create the basic template, you will have something called hello world, which I have deleted. I have added something else. Okay, so once that is done, what you can do, you can start creating your own commands. For that, what you need to do, you need to go inside this package.json. All right, and there is something called something should be there with respect to command. Yeah, exactly here. So I had these many commands. I'll be covering all of them. So for example, let's say how you can show, or how can you show a message, how can you ask a question. In some cases, there is a high possibility when you'll create your extension, you will ask questions to your users, right? Or you will show some kind of message, error message, information message, something like that. All right. So for example, I have created command class, which you can see over here, register commands, and that what I'm registering two kind of commands right now. So one is which will show you a message on the bottom right, and one is like another which is like a dialog box, and which will cover at least pretty much all three kind of possible commands. Like I would say a message which will be information, error or something on these things. All right. Now another thing you need to understand, to execute any command, you need that command ID or command name actually, which you have to put it over here. So for example, for showing a dialog message, I added a command, and the name of the command is infinite hyphen poc dot dialog model message. All right. So that's a command which will you will use in your entire application, and this is the title which will be visible to the user. So for example, if I execute this extension which is already running here, and if I have one, and if I have to search the command with this name, show dialog message, so I have two options actually. One is I can simply type like a show dialog box, as you can see it's visible over here. Another option is I can use a category. So that will help you, because in your VS Code there is a high possibility you may have more than one extension, right? And there will be many commands, so searching is going to be very tricky. So that is where this category comes into the picture. So this will filter all those commands, and it will be easy to identify them. So for example, if I type ipoc in my extension, if I type simply ipoc or any kind of sort of, so these are the possible commands available over here. All right, so let me show you one more thing here. There is something called command entry, which you need to understand how it works. So actually there are two things. It's array, so it's up to you what all things you want to activate immediately. Like immediately, or everything will be loaded in the memory. If you put a star, everything will be loaded. But if you don't want, like only, okay, let's say you want to initiate only one command at the same time, until unless it's not executed. other one, so it will not execute. So for example, let's say I'm loading only this one. You can see dialog model message. I'm not put. I'll have to comment this one. Let me remove this. That is better actually. So I'll remove it. Everything will be available, but right now by default this command will be available for me. If I try to execute this one, let's say there is one more was there, right? Let's say I ask user a question or something like that. So, but right now this will be loaded because at the time of executing, let me stop this one and run it again. Now my extension is, I think loaded. Okay, but nothing is there. If I just say POC, you are seeing these things, that's fine. But if I click here, see you are getting an error because it's not loaded into the memory. But if you click on this one, I filter out like show dialog message, right? It will work. See, it started asking. This is the dialog message example. How many cats do you see? It's asking. It's like three or in the message. I can type like I need to answer it. I can say one, so it's saying wrong. All right, so let's say another option is, let's say again I'll type this in. I can say cancel. In this case, I'm not typing anything. I'm ignoring. So then it says there's a second type of example. It's called a input box where you can ask user to put something, right? So this is second example. So far I showed you one error message and then this is a input box. Here also I can type something. And if I type three, let's say this time, because I saw three cats and it will say perfect. The answer is correct. All right. Now, if you load other one, it will work because those are loaded through because I'm executing them just below that. But first time it didn't load. All right, and it's the same thing. How many cat do you see? If I type here, let's say three directly, and it's saying perfect because it's the correct answer. One more thing here in this message box, it has one extra thing is like you can type your message and in between it has a capability to, you can while writing the message in the code actually, you can, it's like a markup text. So you can put that kind of stuff. So I'm using emoji. So that will give you a feeling I can use that actually. So if I type, let's say here, for example, window dot. So these things I can put in the code and it will be visible in the screen. All right, so that is all about your, commands. Let me stop this one and I'll go back to the package.json and I'll remove this one. So I want to execute all, so I'll put it as start. All right, so this is first thing. Okay, next thing I will be covering you, like showing you configuration properties. So for example, there is a high possibility you want to create some kind of settings, okay, for your extension to work with some default setting, and if user wants, they can enable, disable, or modify. You might have observed there is a, on this scroll bar, a preview kind of thing used to be where you can see a little mini map, something is there, which so that's like by default it's on, but you if user doesn't like it, like me, I didn't like it, so I just disabled it. So it's like a some kind of setting with respect to that. So in your extension also you can create some settings. All right, so let me run one thing. uh, so now you can see the extension is up and running and you see this welcome message which is coming. Okay, so assume this extension is showing this welcome message, but I don't like it. I want to disable this. So what we can do, we can use this extension setting, and that is where we will play this with what to show, what not to show. This is just one example, which so I'm showing in this like in the startup, we want this welcome message or don't want it. All right, so you can use the same trick somewhere else where you want something to be done with the user so they can play with the setting they want to modify, edit, or whatever they want to do it. All right, so let me click F1. That is where we get to know where we can do these changes. Type user setting, and there are two options right now, one with the UI, another with the plain JSON. Both are JSON and both are simple. Just click on UI right now, and you need to search or you can type a shortcut if you know the name. So let me go back to package.json first so that I'll show you where we are giving this name, so which will be visible on this user setting. All right, so if you scroll to the bottom somewhere, you will see this configuration, and I am giving a title, which is the name. You will see somewhere here, like somewhere it should be there. I think it's here. You can see. All right, so this is the title, infinite POC, and there are four possible properties I have created so far. I will cover one by one. So this is the one, first one. It's saying you can say enable disable welcome message. This is the format where you need to, you say property, and in that you need to type what kind of property I mean like it is, whether it's a bool or what is the default value and what is the description. All right, and this is the key for that property. Same you will see pretty much over here. If you see here extension, and you can see IPOC welcome message enable disable. So right now it's enable, as you see it's checked. If I make it unchecked, before doing that I will show you one more thing. I'll simply click again on user setting. So if I click on JSON, so JSON is actually it's having everything in a JSON format, but it will not show you all the properties, I mean default properties. So for example, if you see a check here, I go back again where is infinite POC, and if I scroll, sorry, I think it's here. You can see it's checked, so it's true, but it's not visible here. So what you can do, when you uncheck, it will automatically. Let me uncheck this one, and you will see a new entry over here. Another thing is like, let's say if you know the key, you can just control it. It has intelligence, I think. So you type IPOC, and these are the possible four keys I have in my extension. All right. Let me go back and remove this, which I created just now, and I made it false right now. And same you can see here. Now let me reload this section. So there is one more shortcut here. You just type reload, or you can close and reopen. Anything is fine. So I'm reloading the window, which will actually reload the extension, or you can say the VS Code window. Close these things, and I don't know you observed or not, it pop-up didn't come. Let me reload it again. Just keep on waiting, nothing will come because it's disabled. All right, so this is bool type of property which I just now showed you. All right, so now let me get that back. If, as you can just go here and type through this time, and I'll just reload it again. Sorry, and you should see that pop up. All right, so it's coming. All right, second thing is like, let's say I want to like show a drop down where you can show a user to select something. So in this example what I am doing, this eye emoji is coming. I don't like this emoji. I want user to put a different emoji if they want. So it's a trick. Like, you want to take somewhere, you want to give some default values to the user, and you want users to select out of those drop down values. So that is why I'm taking this example. So let me go back and press F1 and type user setting, and you can just click on this UI, and there is something. I'll just type IPOC so that I need not to type again and again. Okay, so you can see there is a drop down here. You can just select emoji, and by default, that is why it's showing a default. And if you want, you can select for something else. Let me select this one, and it's saved. All right, now if I close this one and reload it this time, you should see a different emoji. So I hope you got it what I'm trying to say. So this is how you take the drop down value. All right, so third one is you can take some, you can say like message. So right now you observed I was showing I I think some default message is this one. Welcome to the IPOC extension. All right, so you can type something else. So let me go back and press F1 again, and you'll say user setting. Go back there, and here I'll filter, and this is our welcome message. Let's say I am saying before this I'll put hello. Hello, welcome to the IPOC, and whatever it is. Okay, done. Let me close this, reload. So you see the message got changed. So in this you learned like how you can take a message kind of thing from a user's setting. All right. All right, so last one is this one, array type. So there is a high possibility where you want to take array of items from the users. So you just, for example, right now I am saying taking a website names just to give you a hint. So for example, if I go back and show you user setting again, you see IPOC, and it has two items by default. That same thing you see here in my package.json. All right, so it's saying two URLs. So there, if you want, you can add a third one as well. I'll show you where I'm using that one, but you got a feel of like how to use this user setting. All right, so that's pretty much about this configuration thing, and how you will do in this package.json. That is also pretty much clear over here. So it should be part of configuration. You just need to give title, so that it will be visible in your user setting extension as a extension. And I think I told you it should be a part of this one. Whatever you will create, it will be inside extension, and you need to look for it. If you don't want to look for it, just a type of name so that it will filter out. All right, and then this is the basic bool type. This is I mean drop down type. This is string type, and this is array type. All right, let's go to the other topic now. I'll show you a snippet how you can show a ready-made code. So for example, if you see there is a snippet I have created. So this is the way if you want, you can create your own. You just simply type a snippet and it will give you same example. Let's say which language you want. So I am creating for JavaScript. Let me click this one only. So let's see, this is the default format. You read the message, it's saying just uncomment this piece and write your own code. All right, so since I have already created that file, exactly same, I'll open it. This is the file which I'm talking about, and this is the file. Okay, in this file, I just uncommented and I've added a method contain name is print to console. So if I type this one, it will be giving me a hint. And when I'll say press enter, I mean, this is the, I need to type this like a definition or you can say hint, and this is the actual method, actual code you can say, and this is the description. And this is only for JavaScript. If you want a different language, then you will just download simply like same thing. You type snippet configuration and you select what configuration you wanted, and it just attaches to your extension. The only catch is it should be in your root folders. Root means, so this is my parent folder, like Infinite POC VS Code extension, and inside there is a folder called snippets. In that you should have the file. If you drag this file inside src or somewhere else, it's not gonna work it once you install it. It will work in a debug mode, but it will not work once you install it or create a package. All right, so it should be inside a root folder. All right, so let me run this. I think it's already running. Let me get that JavaScript file. So you can see the file, it's a temp untitled for document is created, but it's still right now it's a plain text. I can just simply say JavaScript, make it. So now it became JavaScript type of document. Now, if I say control space, it's just giving me because of JavaScript extensions I might have. But what I showed you just now in the snippet, the hint is print. All right. So if I type print here, you see it's the same thing. Print to console is there. There is one more that is different story. I mean, it's a different thing. But the print to console is there. If I type, you see it's showing infinite POC extension, and my cursor is inside double, I mean like a single quote because of this $1. If I press tab, it will come here $2, something like that. All right, so this is the code which got printed over there. So this is how you create a snippet. If you want to create one more, just copy and say comma and paste below and type your own code and put a prefix. And if you type the prefix over here, you should get that hint here. I'll just type again, as you can see, not here, sorry, print, and you can see print to console. And then if you click on this arrow, you should get that description which I was talking about. All right, so you can see that as well. Okay, let me close this one. Let's go to another topic, code completion. All right, so code completion means I just opened just now one more document. I'll open it like JavaScript. Let's say you want to create your own custom methods and you want to provide your users to get those intelligence. Because those are custom methods, so won't be available as part of your language like a JavaScript or something, but you can create your own custom. So for example, if I say control space, I have created my own. Let's say there is a class. Before going to that, I'll just show you the code first and go back here, extension. You just need to go, so say register IntelliSense, and then if I go inside, all right, so you have to register these two things. Actually, one you have to register this provide complete completion items, and then just whenever I am saying dot, so that it read that character and show a right definition. Actually, definition means what kind of method you want to show. It actually works in the way of like a map. So you type the key and you get the value, and then when the value is there, then if you want to go to third level, so let's say a dot b. This A is a key, and using the A you got B. But when you want like A dot B, then B after dot you want a definition of B. So now the entire A dot B dot becomes your key. And then if you want, let's say you are typing C, then another third level becomes like A, B, C is your key, and that's how you will give a definition of C. It works on this kind of principle. Before that, I'll just show you a payload which I created to show you this demo. So this is the data which I created. So there are two data I have created. One is demo, another is car actually. So if you this payload, which I'll highlight right now, you see there is something called demo. So if you say demo dot, you should see its child. So demo is a key and the value. In the value, what you will see two items because I have a child of I'm an array, and then in that two items are there at a root level actually. So you see a demo has something called name. Another thing is you have something called details, which is a method. I mentioned here method, it's a property. So if I say after demo dot details this method and say dot, then I should get its children, which is nothing but is invalid or its ID. Okay, both are property. Another example is this piece. So if I highlight this one, you see here I have something called car and it has two children. Again, you can add as many as you want, and then you can see it's a name, so it will give you a name. Another is like again details, and in details if you say it has something is available or a price. So this is just to give you a hint. So now assume if you want to show a complex one, you can pretty much create in a similar kind of structure and play with that array, and you will show on UI. And this I bind it to a JavaScript object. If you want a different language, you just type over here. So its first parameter, if you see here, it's a language actually. Document selector is nothing but pretty much same. Okay, so in that you just put whatever language you wanted. All right, so now since the extension is already running, let me open a document, and it's a JavaScript document. And now if I say control space, you should see these are like a default one. So there will be something called car and a demo somewhere. So better I'll just type, I think, CAR. As you can see, it's over here, and it is having top model car, and it's a description or whatever you want to put it. If you same, I can show you in the code actually. You can see if you type car, this is the doc which I'm printing over there. All right, so now if I say dot, I should get a name and a detail which I talked about. If I click on detail, I can type something, it's up to me. I'll say, let's say model number is one or something, and I will say dot, then I get a definition. So is available or price. So you got it what I'm trying to say. So initially I just type one car, which is a key, and then I'll say dot, then I get a definition of this. And if I type this one, then this entire becomes key. And from the map, I will take the another value called is available, right? This is how it works. Now you can create your own entire sense the way you want it. Another example I showed you like a demo, which also works on the same principle. So demo is a key, and in that you have two items, details and a name. You can give whatever you want to give it. So I'll say after that nothing is there, so it's not showing. But if I type it again, demo dot name and say dot, and then I would not name actually details, I would say, and say dot, and then you get is ID, I mean, is a valid or an ID, something like that. All right, so that's pretty much from the code completion side. All right, let me double check. Did I miss anything? So there is one thing I need to show you here is like there are two methods I am using. One is to show you the actually the initial part of it, so where you are seeing a car or something, and another thing is when you press a dot. So this after this press, as I told you, this becomes whatever is before dot is becomes key, and that key I search in a map and I return that entire whatever is the object. In my case, the object is nothing but array of items like a name, a definition, or something like that. Once you debug this, you will get that what I'm trying to say. All right, so next topic is create sidebar. All right, so if you see in my extension, if I go back, there is something called this is what we call sidebar, and in that you can create your own icon, and when you click on it, for example, let's say I click on git and I get this window. This is called panel, sidebar panel, and if you create on center, then it's called center panel. All right, so those are like a web views, like where you can, create whatever you want to create using HTML elements. All right, so I have created this infinite icon, and there's a title. How you get that? And these are the possible HTML element I have created. I will show you one by one. All right, so before doing that, I'll just show you how I got this icon. Go back to the code and open this package.json, and there's one more thing here. So if you install, right, your extension, like for example, if I install this prettier or a trailing space, so this is called image. So this you can put it from here, icon. And when I was talking about the this comma, what do you call that, sidebar icon. For that, what you need to do, you come to this contributes. In that, this one more thing I forgot, that as part of snippet actually. So once you create the snippet, you have to put that path into this contributes inside snippet section. All right, and put the language which for which language, I mean, you created the snippet and that path. Only thing, it should be in the root folder. That's a plus, I mean, must thing. All right, so for this web, what you need to do, you need to create a view container. So in that one, you need to put create an activity bar. So this is, you can say activity bar or sidebar. Give a ID, whatever you want to give it, and a title, what you want to show. In my case, it was showing, if you see here, if I mouse over, it's showing infinite POC. So that is nothing but it's coming from here. All right, and whatever icon you want to show it, you have to put that path over here, and make sure your whatever icon is, it's a transparent. If it's not transparent, it won't look, I mean, perfect. It will be like a little weird. So make sure you have a transparent SVG or image or whatever you want to call it. All right, so if it's a transparent, then it will be it will be like these, like it will be good. All right, so whatever ID you will give it, you have to put it into your view. So if you see here, I'm highlighting here. Let me do it again. You can see it's highlighted. So it should be part of this view, and in that is where you will create your own web view. All right, so type is always web view and give a web view ID. So I'm calling a cyber panel, and again you can give a name which will be showing over here. So for example, this is extension web view actually, and the extension web view panel name is extension kernel installed, something like that you will show. So whatever you want to put it, you put it, and give some icon if you want to put it. All right, I'm giving a beaker icon. I will show you where it is used. All right, so let me close this and run it again. Okay, so you can see it's here, and this is the infinite POC which you're seeing here. All right, and these are the possible HTML elements which I added as part of this web view. So I'll go back and show you where is that web view in our code. So let me collapse this, and if you see, there is something called SRC, and then extension, and there is something called views. In that, I have created two kind of views. First is this is different thing. I will show you later. This is the view which I'm talking about right now. Register web view provider. So this is the left one. If you create a view on the center, then you can use this concept. All right, so let me go back here. In that, what you need to do, you just need to implement from web view provider, and you have this method. I mean, you need to inherit this method. Once you inherit, you have to put HTML, and there is one catch here. So you have to have the HTML here in TS file, and you have to use this meta tag, so that it will allow only the JavaScript which is part of your code, so that it should not allow, or it should not execute any JavaScript apart from yours, like which is not part of your solution. So that is why you put it in, and simply you put all your what you call that HTML element. So I showed you over here. You can see these many buttons are there. Those are nothing but is pretty much from coming from here. All right, and there is like for example, if you see, this is called view, and then whatever you are seeing in the backend is extension. So how you will transfer the data from view to extension, and extension to view, that also I will show you. So then, since this is the way you will create a I will like a sidebar panel, and you will fill the HTML, and once that is done, you can just simply register it this way. So all these methods I'm saying register, no, it's always called from here, so that I don't want to make this page dirty. So that's why I'm creating a separate export methods, and or a function you want to call it, and that is where you will see that in the in this like separate classes. So I go back here in this provider, and you can see there is called register web view provider, which is called from the extension main class, root class, you can say. All right, so, and then you just use this exactly same method, resolve web view, and put that HTML. All right, so once that is done, you will be able to create this HTML. How you will bind it? So you see there is some JavaScript file I have attached it. You can see over here the file name of the JavaScript is nothing but infinite-poc panel.js. file, and there is one I created reset CSS file which will reset the margin or margin or binding padding I mean to say. And then you can put your VS Code CSS. These you can download from their VS Code GitHub pages, and it will be readily available. But it's a part of this solution also, so you can take it from here. And this class is you just need to go and I will show you media, and you can see JavaScript file here. So I just bind it using the class tag. All right, and just normal JavaScript concept. Just add listener and click event and what it should do. Only thing you need to do. So whenever you are taking a value from your view to the extension, you have to use VS Code post message, and it's just like it will just plain like that. It's just like a pipe. It will where you will your message will go. Like how you do in a socket connection, right? You just pass a message, and, but you need to put in enough information so that it goes to a right place. Similarly here, so you are saying post message, so it's a object, it can take an object, so you can say type and the value, or you can use whatever format you want it. Only thing you should be able to identify what kind of message you are getting. So I'm saying type is nothing but button, first click, second click, third click, something like that, and then I'm just passing the value whatever it is. All right, so as you can see, my first button is saying open browser. So this is another topic, like how you open any URL from your VS Code so that it can go to the browser. So how you will use this, for example, this feature will be useful when you are, let's say, asking your user to log in. There are many ways to log in. So it is one of the way, like you can click on this button and take the user to the browser and get them login over there and redirect back to them into VS Code and take that, token in that token or whatever information, I mean whatever is the process of your authentication. So this is where it will be very useful. So for example, I showed you one user setting here. I'll open it again. So if I open it here, you saw there were two URLs I added. So now I'll show you how I'm using. So these are two URLs. So when I click on this, it will take the first URL actually. So this is the URL binded, and now you got it how you can use this kind of like array where you're taking the items. So just one example I showed you. We close this. If I click now open browser, it's asking do you want to or do you allow. So I'll simply say open. So now you can see it's opened here. All right, let me close that. Second is the input tag. So let me go back and open that sidebar panel. I think it's in the view. All right, here. So in this I am saying this is the sidebar input text, nothing but, and then second is like say I will cover these topic also. Let me see which side can cover right away. So I think so before going to these, I'll show you like how you can to create the center panel. Obviously everything is just same. Only thing you just need to copy paste from this sidebar to the center bar. Same thing I did in there. Like so whatever code you are seeing here, pretty much everything is there in the center panel actually. All right, so how you can get that? This you have to bring it on the command. All right, so how I am getting actually, I have added a command saying open center panel, so which you can see over here. This is the button actually. So it's a fourth button which is saying this I will cover in just a bit, but it is saying open center panel. So let me go back to the extension which is running, and it's saying open center panel. If I click on it, you see SM. Though I didn't add other buttons, I copy only limited amount, but it will do the pretty much same thing. If I click here, it's asking the same thing. If I click on open, it will open that URL. All right, so you got that. So if you want to like, there is a possibility if you want to add a different kind of HTML or form, so now you can do it on your center panel as well as on your sidebar panel. Here also you can add multiple panels. I just added, it's an array actually. If you observe in the package.json, if I go back, you see it's an array actually. All right, so you can add as many panel as you want just based on the condition you enable either of one. All right, so let me close this one. Another thing is you can use these you know caching thing actually, how you can cache the data in your local browser storage actually. Just like in browser you have local storage, right? Similarly in your extension also you have storage. I'll show you that it's a part of that your context global state. So I think the button number is, let me get that. It's over here, I think. So it's a second button, save in a cache. So if I go back and there is a method called I'm posting message from, as you saw, the JavaScript here, second message, and I'm saying VS Code post, and the value, whatever you will type in the text box, that will get saved into your cache, local VS Code extension cache, and it's limited to your extension. So each extension is having its own cache. All right. So when I am saying VS Code post, now it's a UI to the extension. Now this is the point I was talking about earlier, just a bit before. So there is something called Webview dot Webview on did receive message. So this is the place you will receive the message, whatever is from JavaScript, nothing but UI. All right, so and then you need to identify what kind of data it is. So since we are typing a type and the command or a value, I think it's a value right now. So type is a second command, and what we are doing, we are sending that value to cached. All right, so there is something called extension context, which is nothing but same. If I show you, it's the same extension context as I mouse over like on it, like you can see, it's a colon extension context. So it's nothing but same thing. So in that, if you say dot global state, that is where you will, get hold of that object. And it has some method, three methods actually, where you can say update, get keys, and get that particular object. And sync means if you are having like you want to sync, if you can log in and sync across, or else that is where this method will be useful. And update means update the value. There is one catch here. So for example, if you set the value and if you want to remove the value, you have to use update. Just that you have to put undefined value. So once you set the undefined value, that key will be removed from the storage actually. All right, so since I am seeing, so this key is fixed in my case, so that I can show you the example like in my extension. So my key is IPOC cache key, and this is the value which is going into the cache. I'll show you now. So let's say I type here this time, I'll say hello. So this is the value. Now I'm saying save in a cache. So I get a pop-up. You see it's saying value saved in cache. All right. So once that is done, you will see I have added one more command, so where you can see actually whether really it's saved or not. So there is something called IPOC, and you see show cache I have added. So that is where it will show all the keys. So right now I added all the keys, means I'm like it's listing only one because I have only one key which is hard coded there. So make you understand. Let me close this pop-up, and if I get it again, so it's showing the, if I click on that, and this is saying value from the cache is nothing but hello. So this is the value I am getting from the cache. All right. So second thing is, like, let's say you don't want to save in a cache, but you want to store in some kind of a secret place inside a VS Code. Just like you have Visual Studio and you have something called user manager. All right, that it's like a secret place. Exactly same thing. So here also the third button is talking about that one only, like save value in a storage, and how you will get it. Again, you have to use the extension contact, and then now they have to use secrets as a now instead of global state you use secret and say store. It has some methods which I'll show you. You can see it has delete, get, and you have store and on did change, that it's a event is there. So I'm saying store right now, and I'm using pretty much same key and storing the value. Go back to the extension, I'll say hello to this time, and save in you can say secret storage, and I click on it. You can see value saved in secret storage. Let me close this, and I have also created one command for that. So show value from secret storage. So you right now it's showing the value is having nothing but hello 2. If I type 3 and save storage, value is saved, and if I get that command again, you see now value from secret storage is hello 3. All right, so I hope you are getting what I'm talking about. All right, so next thing is send data via command. So means from your UI to the extension, or you can say a different component. So this is one component, other component is different. Let me open the center panel again, and let me type something here. Let's say hello 3, and if I hit this button, send data via command, so we are on this component, you can say. And if I click on this button, you see center panel received IPOC data, which is nothing but the command key actually I'm typing over there, and you got the message on this panel. All right, so how we are achieving this actually, there is it's the same thing in VS Code. Everything works like a command actually. So you just need to put a right key and register and then subscribe. So if I show you, if you go back here and there's the fifth button. So if you see here, I'm simply saying command.execute and this is the key, and again I'm using the same object kind of thing like a type and the what I want to send it. So if you search this actually, and this is my right now web view, and let me search this, and this is the same way we register code. That's not a big deal. Now I need to search. I think it's over here. You can see. So it's like a center panel where I'm registering actually, and it's a different place I mean to say. And I'm registering like register command. There I was using execute command. So that's the only execute means you are like sending some data, and register command means there that is where you will subscribe to that value. So once I send it, I receive the value over this place, and I'm using the same mechanism to show the value which I have showed you in the beginning of this video, like how you can show information message or error message or something like that. All right, so let me go back and see what is next. All right, so next is you can see it's open folder. So open folder means let me go back and show you. So you can see right now there is no folder is open. It's just I mean like it just the editor is running. I mean like a VS Code is extension is running. All right, so if I go back again, it's saying open folder. Open folder means we need to give a path. On that, it will open a folder. All right, so for example, if I copy a path from here, let's say this the path I want to give it, and I want to open in this VS Code. Normally, I can do it from here, but in there is a high possibility in in your case actually you want to open a folder on fly, right? So that's where you can use this example. So I'll type this path over here. There is no validation, just the happy path I'm showing right now. Alright, so if I click on open folder right now, you see it's opening that temp folder. I'm inside that folder, and that's where you got the welcome message again. Alright, let me close that and I go back. What is there next? So you got this how to open a folder now. Create a temp document. So if I go back, you can see it's a temp folder, and if I click on this temp document, you see it created a temp one. So right now there is no path associated to it. It's not a physical document. You see the folder is still open actually. I mean like empty. So you can, so I'm creating a JavaScript document. You can create any kind of document by the way. So while creating, if you go back and I think it's open document is this one. So if you scroll, I mean like you can see I'm saying workspace dot open text document, and I'm providing a language ID as a JavaScript, and then I'm just typing a basic startup content so that you can show it on the user, show it to the user. So this is the where you can see here it's showing untitled. Alright, so next thing, there is a high possibility you may need to create a document in a folder. So this that you can just like open a physical document, or it should be a create document actually. So I think if I can you can create using the FS library or something like that. Let me check that. What is this? Okay, it's a open show document, and it's taking a actually value as a file path. So what I can do, I can just simply save this document itself. I'll just save it, and I'll save to the same location. I'll say test undo, this the one, and you see here this file is saved here inside this test. And let me open this document. I closed it. This is explorer mode, so I simply click on it and you got this document. Let me close it, but you can do the same thing from your extension as well. So for that you need to uh, copy the path of that. So let me do that. So I'll say this the path, got it. Okay, so I go back and paste here, and if I didn't think it didn't paste, I'll simply say open physical document, and you see it's able to open that document here. Okay, so this is all about how you open. You can create a pretty much same document also. That's not a big deal using the same library. Okay, now you can use show diff actually. You can use the VS Code has that a VS Code diff editor. You might have seen in the kit actually. You see a left panel and the right panel. So using that VS Code diff command, you can take a two documents and show it as a diff. So since I have created one document over here, let me create another document, and this time I'll give a different name. So I'll just type something. Let's say print hello world. Okay, I saved it, and this time I'll say test2 and I'll save to the same location. All right, I have already copied the path. I simply say comma. I mean, you can give any format you want. I'll paste again, and this time I'll say 2. So I have first path which is test and another path is 2 separated by comma. And if I click on this show diff, you see it's able to show. So the first document was having some startup line which I created from the extension, and second I just typed print hello world, and that is what you are seeing here. I can both pen is editable, so if you want you can just do that. Let me know if you find a way where you can make the left pen readable. I tried my level, I didn't find any API from VS Code like by using that we can make this left panel read only mode, but I didn't find it. Let me know in the comment if you are able to find that. All right, so you see left panel is also editable, right panel is also. According to me, I think there should be a way to make it readable. You observe this option is there, enable preview mode. So sometime it works, sometimes doesn't work. I'm not sure how it's going to work actually. And there is no way to provide a flag from the VS Code command when you initiate this diff. Like okay, to open the left panel in a read-only mode. So if I go back and show you the code, so this is the diff one. So if you see, this is the way. So vs code dot diff, this is a command. I'm saying execute command as I showed you before. And this it takes two parameter. First parameter is a file path. Second parameter is the second file path which you want to compare. And third is like nothing but title, what you want to show it on the UI. So if you go back and see, it's showing left and the right, nothing much. So let me know if you are able to figure it out how to make the left panel readable. It will be very helpful to me also. All right, so next thing is show progress bar. So definitely there is a possibility you want to do something, a long running job or something, some task is running and you want to show a user, okay, something is going on, please wait or something like. So you can make use of that. Let's say you're downloading something and you can show where some progress is going on. So you can use this one, show progress bar. If I click on it, you see it showing progress exam completed 50%, 70%, 100%. And I'll open it one more. I added a cancellation token also in this one. So if I cancel it, start. So you use it how you want to use it. I'll go back to the code and I'll show you how I'm doing that. In this one, they have to use like window dot with progress and give a title and the location. Location is very important actually. So if you observe, if I go back and if I hit again, it's showing this the process on the bottom right side. So that's where it's a notification location. You can show it on the this also. If I change that location and make it, and it will show over here. Like if you observe at the time of loading, it used to progress here, right? So it's up to you where you want to show it. It takes actually a view ID. So if you see, it takes a view ID. Yeah, it's a string type. All right. Second thing is like you want to allow this cancellation token to be true or false. I mean that you want to provide that cancel button or not. If I make it false this time and rerun it, so welcome is there. That we started and see there is no cancel button coming this time. I hope you got it. All right, so just now I showed you just send data from one component to another component using a command where you registered and executed. So when you executed, you are sending the data, and when you registered, you are actually subscribing. You can also use an event mechanism. So to do that job, just like you are publishing one side and another side, you are subscribing to it. All right, so that is also you can do it from here. So you simply give message from event, since there is nothing is there, that is why it's showing empty. So if I'll type here hello for this time, and you see you got this message coming from there. All right, so go back and show you how I have created this event. Actually, this is part of VS Code event. So it's like somewhere I have that event. Yeah, this is the one. So what you can do, you can create your own custom class, and that's where you can use this event emitter. So if you worked on Angular, pretty much same concept. So using that, you can just you can task. I'm passing a message, so that's why it's a string type. You can use any complex object and just publish, and you will get that object on the subscriber side. All right, so that's all about from the left, what you call that sidebar side. All right, and I covered how you will transfer between back and forth. One more thing is panning, which I will cover in just a bit. Second thing, I'll just show you. There's a high possibility when you see this extension running on the or on your VS Code and it's HTML and you want to debug it because it's a HTML page, you want to see whether CSS is loaded, JavaScript loaded, whether alignment is proper or not, how you can check that. So you press F1 and there is a developer tool. It's here. I need to type it. It's the bottom third. Developer open web view and it's opening here. You can see and it's showing me security something and console and I just use this tag and if I mouse over, let me get that and you see this is the place save in cache. If I mouse over here, you see open folder. So I hope it's the same like what you see in the Chrome or any other browser when you inspect the element. All right, so it's pretty much providing that thing. So you can easily do what you want to do. There is one more catch here. So since this command is from VS Code itself, it's not I created, it was already there. So now there is a high possibility you want to disable that, right? Once you release this extension in a marketplace, you have to disable that, right? Because users should not see it. Like there is a possibility they can see there are many ways, but yeah, still from your side you have to disable that. How you can do that? So there is one method. If you go back and I'll show you. Uh, yes, here. So this is part of your, this is the command which I got it from there. I'll go back and I'll show you again. I'll type here and this is the one. So I don't want this key to be executed. So you can pretty much do with any command. So take that or this ID, I mean command ID and put it here. You say command dot register. So I'm registering as you observe when I'm saying send data and I said execute and that means sending and then receiver side was like register. So similar thing here. So somebody, let's say, executed this command and you subscribe to it and return immediately. So what will happen? It will not, open that this code like I was saying developer tool. All right. So, but when you want, it should be developed in only. I mean, it should show only in debug mode. It should not show in a production mode. So that is where you can use this extension, context extension mode. If you go inside, it's off extension mode type. So depending on that production or development or a test, you can just enable, disable, whatever you want to do. So I just now what I did, disabled for the production. All right, so now it won't show if I create a package and then execute it. I will show you. Right now it's running in debug mode as you can see over here, and I'm able to open this developer tool, which you can see here. Not here actually. Here I mean to say. So open it here and you can see it's coming. Once I'll create a package and install, I will show you it will be not coming. All right. So that's pretty much about how you enable disable your web developer tool. All right, now let me show you how you can create a context menu. So there are ways you can create context menu. So for example, if you create, I added the context menu as JavaScript by the way. So right click and you see something called IPOC from Explorer because this is an Explorer, right? So that is why I gave that name. And it is having one child, I mean one item. So you print text in the output, but there is no window. So let me open that window first. And so now right click and say print text. So whatever is the text available on the document, it will print. So you can see this is the text, I mean, and that is why it's printing. I will cover that how I got it here. There is one more feature is here, you can select only piece of a text and still you can right click and say print and then it will print only that piece particularly. So this is right click context menu from Explorer. Similarly, you can do the same right click context from your document as well. So I enabled only in JavaScript. You can do it pretty much on any language. I'll show you how you will define that. Right click on it. You got IPOC editor and you are getting this send and POC that I'll tell you. So sending this data. So I'm sending this data from extension to the this time I'm sending by the way from editor to the extension which is over here. Let me show you. So let's say if I select I don't select resume and I directly say send and print, so it printed here and it sent the data also to this editor, which is nothing but a sidebar web view. All right, here also pretty much you say I selected this one and I click on this and say send and print. So you printed here in the output channel with the channel name is infinite POC exactly, and you are seeing on the box writing because I selected writing actually. All right, so that's pretty much about from context menu, and I showed you how you can select all or a limited text. And then now the third part is like a, which I covered is a channel. So you can print whatever you want to put in the output channel. For that you need to create a channel with the channel name. I'll show you how I have done it. So For an output channel, you can use one method called window dot create output channel and give a name. And I am creating it at the starting of the extension because when you have to use this variable. And if you don't create like a starting when you don't want to make it like a one time, so what will happen, you will whenever you are posting the message you will create multiple channels, so you are not going to do that. You should not do it. You should create a channel only one time and use that a variable. That's why I'm passing in multiple methods, and wherever I want to print it, I'm using that and print it. All right, so essentially if you go here, write command, and I'm using the same variable for the context menu. And right now context menu also work in the same way. You see here command dot register, that is where registered. When I click on it, it will execute. All right, and this is the way you just using this window. Window has an object property called active text editor, and from there you can filter out where you want to or where you don't want to. So since I'm doing only in JavaScript, and that is why I'm appending. If nothing is selected, nothing is there. If it's not a JavaScript document, still you are executing the command, it will say no active window. If it's a JavaScript object, I'm like whether it's a selected or it's a full document, and I'm saying simply dot show, and op dot append means it will append to the channel. Okay, so that's pretty much from this showing the output on the output channel. Okay, so now I'll show you one more extra thing is if you go back and see the package.json, I showed you two kind of context menu right now. All right, so one is normal print, another is send and print. All right, let me search. I think it's these two. Okay, so he's saying explorer and this saying editor. All right, let me search. This is everything whatever you will do with respect to the commands. But now if you go back to the extension, if I press F1 actually, let's type IPOC so that it filter out. You see it's saying only, I think both the right click options are disabled right now. You see that nothing is available right now. Okay, because I disabled it. So there are ways you can disable the command which you don't want to get it executed from the command palette, which I showed just now. Whatever I showed you, that's called command palette. Exactly. So you will see somewhere here command palette, and this is the explorer menu, and this is the editor menu. That is, both are condition is false, so that's why it's not showing you on the command palette. If I make it true, let's say true, and I'll make this also, let's say true. I stop this and run it again, and if I press F1, IPOC, and you see here show center panel, sorry, print, and there should be somewhere called, yeah, it's there, send and print. So both commands are available now. That's pretty much. And how you can create context menu. So for that you need to actually create the command as it is, no big deal. The only catch for showing the right click, like when I am clicking here, which you have observed in the extension, I right click here, this text and this text, and I click right click here in this text and that text. These will come from these sub menus actually. So this is for, you can see, editor, another one is for the explorer. So you have to create two sub menus, and then you have to create child of it, child for these sub menus. So one child will be going into the your explorer context, another will go into the what do you call that, editor context. You can see here. So this is the way. And another thing is like the placement of that element. Since I have only one item, like a send and print or a print or whatever it is, there is a documentation. You can go to that. I put the link in the description, by the way, like how you can reorder. So for example, they have created a segregation. So for example, I click here, so you see this line, so this is a separation where you will be putting whatever it is. So right now I am using, like, let's say navigation is the one group, and I at the rate one, so that means it will be taking the first index. If I have, let's say, 4 to 5, and I'll say first one is like at the rate second, and then third, and one and two, it will just do in a complete in an order. Whatever is one, it will be first, two, third, fourth, something like that. All right, so that's how you will create context menu, and then this is the command, and you just simply say register, and that is where you will do something. Register, I'll show you one more time if you want. You go back here and register command, and these are the commands, like IPOC print, and there is somewhere it will be there. I think another place somewhere I have written send and print. I think it's on a different location. Let me search that if you really want to see that right now. So let me get that key. Okay, so this is for normal one, and this I think the command explorer, and then okay, so it's here actually send and print, and another one is okay, which is also here. Okay, so that's pretty much about how you will create right click and show the context menu. Progress bar I have already covered it. Next is okay, so I showed you one thing is here. Let me go back and click open browser. You observed here it has started showing one link and it's saying it will open in a browser. So you can use this trick to get the redirect user from your extension to the browser. That's where they can authenticate, but how they will redirect back. So there are many ways. There are two ways. According to me, like let's say you can use one way which comes by default from the VS Code itself, which is nothing but URI handler. Okay, so for example, if I show you redirect thing. Okay, so you can use the URI handler. That's how you register for that. You say window.register handler, URI handler, and then pass that object. Okay, in that you always listen for this kind of extension. So for example, my extension name is, if I go back to the package.json, so it takes two things: package name, which is nothing but your extension name, nothing but so infinite hyphens POC, and the publisher name. So the combination of these two makes a unique URL for your extension actually. So if I go back and you see, you have to type VS Code colon slash slash and then ng, and then because it's my publisher name and this is my extension name, and after that it's a key and value. So if you see this underline, meaning is publisher extension and key and value, whatever you want to pass it, you pass it, and then you will get that. Let me copy this value and open a browser. I'll show you right now. My extension is you can see it's running here. I'll close this one, and so I'll get a tab over here, and you can see it's, if I hit enter, or I can type anything. Let's say I hit enter, and you see it got that message, and if I click on open, it it's printing here. If I go back and let's say this time I'll type some random value, let's say IPOC, and if I enter open, and if I say it's my IPOC. So that's how you can receive the value from outside to your to your extension. All right, so I covered pretty much everything. Now I'll just show you how you can create a package locally and how you can create a package and you can publish the stuff. So let me stop this thing, stop this one also, and I go back here. Open the terminal window and you can type vsce and simply say package. I think I typed wrong. So that's how you will create your own local package. And you can see there is no package installed for me for this one actually. So now once this is done, let me see. Okay, it's asking some questions which I'll simply say yes for now. License is not there, but it's license and the package is created. Okay, so if I press F1, there is something called install from vsix. That's the extension. If I go back and go inside my extension and you see, I think it's not here actually. So inside here, you can see this package is created. I'll just run it and installed, and now I'm no more in debugger. So you see this is the code. If I click on this one, you see the extension is installed, and if you want to see the patch, you simply click on extension and you see here it's the same which I was showing in the beginning, which is nothing but the same readme file, and here you can see whatever feature I covered right now. Alright, so that's how you publish to your local machine and create a package. I'll install it and reload this one. Now I'll show you how you can create your own package and publish to the VS Code marketplace. Alright, so let me go back to the browser, and there is something called personal access token. So click on that link, management page. Let me undo this one also. And here you can click your publisher if you have not created. Once that is done, and then click on this management tool also. Let me get that. I think this is the one. This links. I think the same page. Sorry. So it's here. You click on this link from here. Let it load. So you can see it's created. I mean, it's showing. If I click on this one, it takes to a different page, and that is where you need to create a person access token actually, which so that using that token you can just publish that your extension to the marketplace. So let me create a new personal access token. Since I was already having, that is why it's showing already created. Otherwise, what you will do, you need to put some name. If you want to put it, you could put a expiry. The catch is you need to say so all scope, and there is something called market actually. Let me get that. Yeah, marketplace. Here you will be saying manage actually. Once you select that and put a name, you create it. Once you will see something like that. Or maybe I can create one more. So let's say test, and I'll just put a whatever is the default full access, and then simply select that marketing marketplace. I'll click manage, and I'll simply say create. So this extension, one more token has been created, as you can see over here, and I'll simply copy this. This ID is copied now, and what I need to do, I simply go back and open terminal again, and this time I will say vsce publish. Now it's asking for the, do you want to continue? I'll say yes, yes. Since it was having already token in the cache, that's why it's published. Otherwise it will ask you to put that token which I copied from here actually. So now it's published, and let me go back, and if you see here it's saying verifying. Normally it takes some minutes or something. Okay, so you can see now it's updated just now, and if I go back to the extension and let me type, and you can see it started coming here. I simply install, and this time I'm installing from marketplace, and you can see our extension is up and running. That's how you got this welcome message, and if you see it's showing. All right, so that's pretty much about this video. Thank you very much.